Oh, she's a really junky beauty, isn't she? I love this. I mean, who doesn't love a junky, squishy journal? Hi, I'm Susanne from Susan's Journal Adventure and welcome to the flip-through video of my Junk Journal January journal. So this beauty has approximately the size 11 by 11 centimeters and she grew throughout the whole challenge and is approximately 5.5 centimeters thick, and that's exactly how I love it. And I mean, the size is so, how do you say, handy? I mean, it's just, you know, she fits size-wise in my hands and, ooh, she's so adorable, I guess. Yeah. And today, as I've already said, this is going to be a flip-through video. I want to show you the takes on all the prompts of Junk Journal January. And I want to share some of my thoughts that I had concerning the process or concerning the takes on the prompts. And yeah, I had some struggles and I want to share some of these thoughts with you today. So I made this cover from an, I guess, Amazon packaging. You can, of course, also use a bigger envelope. And I added these pockets on the outside of the cover. I used fabric to strengthen and to decorate the pocket here. I mean, you know what I mean, I guess. And I chose to make the pocket on the front side and on the back side. Well, I haven't used the back side pocket actually, but yeah, it's just also a great decorative element. I went around the cover with a messy straight stitch with my sewing machine. I kept it very simple when I started the cover. I mean, I didn't have a lot of, or I didn't have any colors, just black, white, and this brown from the packaging. And I added the cluster later on. But keeping it simple, as I tried to apply for making the cover, was also the motto for this whole journal. And I think this was a really important decision before I started this challenge to stick to this motto. I mean, it's not always easy to carve out time to be creative and to create in your journals. I mean, life happens, and for me personally, this is basically what I do in my free time. I have a job. It's a full-time job, and yeah, all the things concerning life happen, of course, also during Junk Journal January. And it is always a little bit of a struggle to carve out time to be creative. So this was an important motto for me, and I think this really made me do the whole journal. Without this motto, I think I would have chosen to overthink some prompts, and yeah, I would not have been able to do all the prompts in a really good amount of time. And additionally, it actually helped me that I was filming my takes on the prompts, and this was also a great how do I say it? This was kind of a positive pressure that I put on myself because I didn't want to film videos that were like 2 hours long for 2 prompts. So I decided to do 4 prompts in one video, and I wanted to stick to approximately 30 to 50 minutes for one video. And yeah, I think these were 2 great decisions that kept me following along all the prompts. For the closure, I used these leftover pieces that you tear from the fabric. This is always very decorative as a closure. I just put this between the 2 layers of the cover and sewed over it. I decided to make a pocket on the inside of the cover. Actually, I haven't used this really. I just put obviously a piece of paper in here that I wanted to use, or that I could use when creating in my journal, but actually obviously I didn't use it. And I also created a pocket on the back of the journal, and here I tucked in some fabric and paper scraps before I started the challenge, and indeed I used some of them, so that's really, really great. The journal has one signature. This is the middle. I used this cotton twine to bind the signature in. And I still have some blank pages. You will see that when we flip through the journal, but that's okay for me. And I don't know if I will come back to this journal because at the moment I think this is finished. I mean, I finished the challenge, and so the journal is finished. That's often a feeling that I have, and usually I don't come back to the journal and go on creating in it. I always have the feeling, okay, this is finished now. Usually I add the prompt on the page, but I can't tell you why, but somehow I didn't do this in this journal. And yeah, usually I stamp or I write the prompt here. I could have added it here, for example, or here on the top. I can't tell you why I didn't do this, but it is what it is now, and I hope I can remember the prompts for the individual pages. So I take my prompt list here. By the way, I printed obviously the prompt list out. Here are the creators. This is me. It still makes me really happy that I was part of this gorgeous artist lineup. If you want to see all the videos of the amazing artists, check out Meg's journal. Meg is the host of this challenge. She has a playlist with all the videos. And on my channel, you can find the playlist with all my videos. I will link this playlist down for you in the description box, of course. Okay, let's start with the first page, and I can easily remember which prompt this was because I had a lot of struggles with this prompt. This was my take for the prompt outline on day 4. And I can remember I had a lot of struggles because I was not very happy with my first associations that I had for this prompt. I ended up doing just a stamp image. This is a stamp. I just stamped it on a jelly printed paper, cut it out, and did a really easy collage with this piece of fabric with a butterfly on and this paper scrap here, and placed the face so that you have the feeling that it is kind of part of the butterfly in the background, but just a slightly, this is just a slightly feeling that this is part of the butterfly, of course, but I like this abstract looking thing here. And this was, I mean, when I look at this, I think, okay, I could have done this in, I don't know, 3 minutes, but I know this was really hard for me. And obviously, I don't like it very much, but that's okay for me. This was my take on the prompt overlap. I did this kind of pocket thing here that is not supposed to be opened, but I want to show you how I created this. I just took some mixed media paper and added colors on it, obviously. Cut out these shapes, glued them on the journal page. This was the journal page here. Glued them on with some fabric scraps. Oh, you can't see it here, but you can see it here. Glued it down with fabric and just folded them in. Added these brads and used this thread to hold it all together. And I think the prompt is fulfilled because obviously they overlap. So yeah, this was really a hard process for me and I'm not very happy with it. I can't tell you why, but this is kind of fancy and you think it is a pocket, but I don't want to use it as a pocket. I just want to use it as it is here and look at it and don't do anything with it anymore. Yeah, but I really like the color combinations and the contrasts between this paper with the marks and these bright colors here. This was the prompt tissue. I used a tissue paper, stamped on it, glued it down on a jelly printed paper, added this quote, and this was a really quick one. I love doing this. And I mean, it is simple, but it is beautiful. Or maybe because it is simple, it is beautiful. I think this was the prompt repeat. I stamped on this cutout shapes with a homemade stamp and I used it because obviously these shapes repeat. And I can remember this was also a really quick one and I immediately knew what I wanted to do here. Oh, I remember this as well. This was the prompt magazine. I created a zine, or I folded a zine from a magazine page. I think this is a gorgeous page here and a gorgeous illustration. Just folded a zine, created this pocket here made of a fabric, created this embellishment with the beads on a bulb pin and tucked in the zine here, and I was ready. Oh, I love this page. This was my take on the prompt. How was it called? Antique. Yes, it was antique, and I used this original vintage nail. I covered it with gesso so that the rust can't come off anymore. Oh no, sorry, I didn't cover it. Oh, of course I didn't cover it with gesso. I covered it with my matte gel medium. And so the rust won't come off. Created this fabric cluster. Used this Modern Touch twine. And glued this cluster onto this journal page. This is an original ledger paper and it was already in here as a journal page. I love this page so much. I think this is one of my favorite pages. This was tickets. I was so happy to use up some of my tickets that I had in my stash. I have a lot of cutout things ready to go, but I don't know why. I don't use them very often. And this was a great opportunity. I just used tickets with a lot of greens here, splattered some white gesso, glued down this fabric or lace piece here, added the quote, and it was finished. I love this as well. Ooh, this is, I love this. I love this. This was for the prompt crumpled. I just crumpled up some packaging paper, some tissue paper, sewed over it with a messy stitch. And then I had a little bit of a struggle because I didn't know what to glue on this. I had the feeling, okay, here is definitely something missing. But yeah, then I immediately knew, okay, this can only be this butterfly here, and yeah, finished. Oh, this is a page that I totally love. This was for the prompt hidden, and I used 2 paper dolls, cut them out, glued them together and arranged them new, and I got this fun page here. I love this. You can tuck it in here again. It fits perfectly here. You have this man, and then you get the surprise here. I love this so much, and I think the quote that I found matches really well. Be your beautiful self. And this is, yeah, obviously also some kind of a message that you don't have to hide yourself, and that you have to be proud of yourself, be proud of who you are, and just be you. I think this was for the prompt neutral. I used these fun bunched up threads from fabrics. You get these threads when you tear cotton fabric, then you then you can fray the edges, and you often have these pieces of thread. I bunched them up, added a piece of denim here, this button, the thread here, some tulle here with the polka dots, and this lace, and I have a neutral cluster here. I love this. Oh, this was line. I'm not very happy with this spread here, although when I now look at it, I think it is not that bad. Yeah, I just teared a piece from a children's book with these flowers here, and I went over with a pencil and the ink and created this one line shape here, added these patterns, and then in the end I added the words one line. And I must admit, I don't like these words. I'm not loving my handwriting. I wanted to try it, and I mean, it could have been worse actually, but I don't like it. I mean, I don't like the handwriting here. The rest is okay for me. But this is actually usually not something I do very often. So I think this is one of the advantages when you work along these challenges, and also when you try to keep it simple. You always end up trying out new things and getting out of your comfort zone because you want to have it simple, and then sometimes it is just one paper scrap and a pencil, and you have to think about, okay, what do I want to do with these two supplies? Yeah, and this is just great. I mean, I can look at it and I can say, okay, I did this, and I can listen to my gut if I want to do this again, if I want to practice, for example, hand lettering, if I want to practice these patterns or something like this. Yeah, and this is what I love about these challenges. So this is way more a page that I would normally do, and this was for the prompt modern. I used a paper that I sprayed with oxide sprays. I added these glitter elements, put a layer of transparent packaging tape on top, added this butterfly and some scraps, and I was immediately happy with this page. Oh, here we have actually, I think, 2 prompts. This pocket I made for the prompt tuck spot. I just laminated some confetti. I absolutely adore this. Added these denim and fabric scraps that I just stapled on. And in the beginning, this page was blank. This was just, the color was bleeding through when I worked on this prompt later on. So this was white, but I think it goes so well together. And this was for the prompt newspaper. I cut out these words from a newspaper that I have in my stash for 25 years. This is just crazy. I added this paper doll, this cluster as a tag topper, and some flowers from a magazine for a little bit of background, some green splatters here, and I love it. Ooh, this is a page that I'm not satisfied with. This was for unfold. I did this flower shape and folded it in a certain way so that you can close the journal spread, and it is flat and it opens when you open it. And I mean, this is great. I love this actually. I added some stamping here and a quote, a little bit of thread underneath, just a tiny bit. But I should have glued this piece, this flower, more in the middle of the spread. Can you see this here? And because of this mistake, it doesn't open very well. And you have this crease here when you open it up. But again, something that I learned. This spread is also one of my favorites here. Very simple and I love it. The contrast between the black and white and the neon colors, delicious. So I used these paper dolls, this dog and this woman. I cut out just two wonky circles from a book. This was a book page, added some splatters, and yeah. The background is actually a jelly print on mixed media paper. This is delicious. Oh, and what prompt was it, Susanne? It was, I think, something like balance. Is there balance? Oh yes, day 14, balance. This was for balance. Ooh, this was the take for the prompt map. I used a map, created this tag and this cluster thing on top. Stapled some pieces down here and added this butterfly. And this can move here a little bit. I'm so happy with this page as well. And also with this gorgeous envelope, I used a jelly print. I folded it so that I can have a fun envelope here. I didn't glue it down because I just love this. And I would have lost this if I glued this down. I folded this envelope here. I added this button for some kind of a closure here. And added a piece of paper in here. Didn't do any writing here. It's just for the fun herein. And for the contrast. And I use this, how is it called? Bulldog clamp, I think, to attach it here. Ooh, this is actually also one of my favorite pages. So simple. I just did some stamping here with a homemade stamp. Used this piece of packaging here onto which I stamped some letters. Added this thread embellishment, stapled this just on, and I was finished. I love this so much. And this was for the prompt letter. This was the last prompt of the challenge. For this page, I did my bubble dyeing technique, or it is actually not my bubble dyeing technique, it is the bubble dyeing technique. I dyed this Rolodex index card with this technique and just attached it here as a flip out with some fabric scraps. And this was for the prompt bubble. This page was for the prompt depth. I created this star as part of another project of the Winter Journal Challenge. I will link this video down for you as well, where I made this paper here. And I had some leftovers. I cut out these stars. And they have this shiny coat on top. This was some kind of a galaxy that I created here. And I think galaxy, depth, this goes really well together, at least for me. And added this quote, "It is not length of life, but depth of life," by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Added these splatters, and I really love this page as well. I created this page here, or this tag, for the prompt reveal, because the tag is revealed when you pull it out. I dyed this paper with some oxide sprays, added this ticket thing here that I had in my stash, some fabric and thread underneath for some interest, this tag topper, and I was finished. For the tag, added this cluster here on the envelope to make this kind of cohesive. Oh, this was also a prompt that I really struggled with. This was for opaque. It turned out that I did something opposite to opaque, obviously, because I used this tissue paper, and obviously you can see through this material, and it is not opaque, of course, but that was, after some thinking, the solution for me for this prompt, actually. And I had these pieces of paper where I already cut out some butterfly shapes. I glued down this butterfly that I cut out from this paper and that I still had in my stash, and added some some thread underneath here. You have this dimensional butterfly. I mean, this doesn't stay dimensional, of course, when you close the journal, but it is always a little bit dimensional when you open it because it is not glued down completely. I love this. Ooh, and this is another favorite page here. Also so simple. This was for the prompt embossed, and I did some embossing here on this vellum, and I did some embossing here, the other embossing with embossing powder, on this die cut here on the flower. Can you see this? This is a little bit shiny here and there. Stapled these things together with some denim scraps and a fabric scrap, added some splatters. I love this because this was really, really simple. I just love making clusters. I mean, this is a cluster, this is a cluster, obviously. I just realized, obviously I love clusters. This was for the prompt sealed. I did some faux wax seals with my hot glue gun with this golden glue in it. And I glued these down, these 3 faux wax seals. Added some colorful mixed media paper in the background that I had in my stash and that I made a while ago. And in combination with this original ledger paper, I think this is gorgeous. This was for the prompt trim. I used some trims here that I had in my stash. Again, a cluster with a little quote. And this paper here, I think this is made with oxide sprays and I guess some acrylics. This blue here in the background must be some acrylic paint, and this is oxide. These are oxide sprays here. Went over it with my sewing machine, and I love all the threads here peeking out. Oh, and this is also another page that I really, really love. This is for the prompt fabric. I used a fish fabric in the background, then this mustard yellow fabric scrap here, a black and white fabric scrap, this lace material, and this bird. Again, some messy stitching here with the contrasting black. I love this. And this one is obviously for the prompt bride. I did this background with my acrylic paints with the neon orange, neon yellow, and I guess a little bit of green somewhere. No, it was pink, neon pink. added the splatters in the background, and then I went over, did some blackout technique to get the letters here. Again, some messy stitching and a little cluster here with this fun golden thread and this ribbon here. And we have 2 more prompts that I forgot. The first prompt was the prompt cover, and that was when I added this cluster here. I wanted to have some more interest. I thought the cover was a little bit boring in the beginning without this cluster, and yeah, I really love this cluster. This is a handmade paper button here. Added some ribbon and some lace underneath, some messy thread here, and just glued this on. And for the prompt movement, I made this journal charm. I used this paper clip, added some thread here, and also these thingies here. Oh, by the way, thank you very much for your comments, how these are called. You really helped me out, but now, to be honest, I can't remember how they are called, but I can look up in your comments. So thank you one more time. And I made these dangles using some thread here, using some fabrics here, and some lace. And added this lovely squirrel here. And I can put this paper clip in here on any page that I like. And the journal charm can hang here on the spine of my journal. I hope you enjoyed this flip through video. I would be happy if you would leave a comment down below which prompt was your favorite prompt of this challenge. Thank you for watching again, or thank you for watching for the first time if you're new on my channel. Have a lovely day or evening, and see you in my next video. Bye!